Here are some possible causes of weight gain. Later on, we're going to explain some of the psychological causes, and we're going to talk about how PTSD, trauma, drama, or stress can cause some of the weight gain. Some possible causes of weight gain could be, it has become a habit. This habit might be started when you were a child, or something that has become familiar to replace something else. It has become a friend. Weight gain might also be a defense mechanism. This is very common with women, in which women build a defense mechanism against relationships. This could include present, past, or potential future relationships. Most people do it for boredom. People tend to eat when they're watching the TV program, or just because they don't really have any hobbies outside the house. Obviously, bad nutritional habits picked up from the people around you, your family, or simply because of our culture. Lack of education about eating correctly for weight loss. This could be pushed by our culture and what we've been taught about the food pyramid, for example. We're going to be talking about how marketing and pop culture has reinforced some diets that don't work and normally reinforce behaviors and foods and type of foods that are actually harmful to us. Also, emotions. A lot of people eat when they're guilty. They feel guilty for loss or sadness of a loved one, loneliness, or resentment. And this can be because of people gaining weight or unable to lose it. And finally, one of the biggest ones, which is more than 67% of the population in the United States, can be accounted for. This is called a root cause, a past event or trauma in the client's life that has affected them, but this trauma has been buried subconsciously, and the client is really not conscious of why they can't lose weight, but continues to do the behavior. We'll be talking about this later when we talk about stress, drama in relationships, and also PTSD. The truth is that we need to be our own loving detectives. How do we recognize triggers? When you have already had breakfast, but you insist on going through Burger King and drive another time, you gotta ask yourself, is this because of a timing issue? You're already rushed through your meals because you're driving or driving your kids to school? Or maybe it has to do with your schedule. Maybe your schedule needs to be changed. Maybe to have a plan for certain kinds of foods that will fill you up in the morning. For example, and we'll talk about this later, a diet in which you have a glass of water when you get up, you wait 30 minutes, then you drink some juice or chicken broth, wait another 30 minutes, and then have a good portion of oatmeal with blueberries or apples. You have to think, when do you tend to overeat? Do you overeat when you're sad, lonely, or anxious? We have to be smart and be our own loving detective and think the good calories in the morning that will fill you up without trying to retain any of the fat. How will your life improve if you just did this for 2 weeks? We will think of some strategies when we talk about nutrition in a later chapter. Be your own loving detective. I'll see you next.